Jesse.
Yeah, what's up, dude?
What are you doing?
Oh, dude, I'm doing bicep push-ups.
Ruining your wrist. What?
Bicep push-ups.
Wait, you said
Bicep push-ups. You know, biceps, pew, pew, just like that.
they work your triceps.
No, man, I think they're biceps. It's bicep push-up.
Do you remember your 2 chest exercises?
Yes.
Do you remember the kettlebell clean?
Yes.
Have you decided to stop making up exercises?
Apparently not.
I can't take you.
Oh, come on, man.
What's up, guys? Jeff Cavalier, AthleteNext.com. So if you want to build big biceps and you want to do it at home, the one thing you don't do is a bicep push-up. Look, I actually didn't know this existed until Jesse showed it to me. And if I had to pick an exercise to help me to build big biceps at home, it would fall all the way down here on that list for what you'd actually use, because it doesn't work. And instead of just kind of bashing on it here, I want you guys to understand why it doesn't work, because that opens up the whole bunch of possibilities about the things that do work. And I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm going to show you the things that work and also show you a couple of things I think that fit all the way up here on the top of the list, all right? So let's talk about the bicep push-up again. This is what it looks like. Jesse was actually doing it right. It just is not good. Why? Because, guys, when we talk about the biceps, there's a few things that it does, right? We know that it flexes the elbow. We know that it can supinate the forearm. We can see it work even just by doing that. And then we know that the last thing in order of its preference is to actually help to assist in shoulder flexion to bring the arm up. When we look at that exercise, we see the first thing that it does is it's actually extending the elbow. It literally is working under load to extend the elbow, the exact opposite function of the bicep, meaning the tricep is what's working to bring you from this position to this position. Beyond that, we have this other component of supination. And because we get into this position, some will argue that that is actually supinated, so therefore you have tension on the biceps, but you don't, because 2 things are happening. Number one, when you get your hands back into this position, you're locking them in place. So you're not supinating under load, you're getting into a supinated position and then locking them in place. The third thing is that shoulder flexion. And if there's anything going on here, you're getting some flexion, but you're going from a very extended position to a less extended position. But I'm still not in shoulder flexion, so that's not even viable. So the last thing we're talking about here is you really have maybe a stability contribution from the biceps. And this is why that happens, because you take your hands, you put them back here, and then you have your hands down closer to your waist. So when you're out in front here, I want to fall in that position here. Fall. I want to fall in that position here. I want to fall in that direction. The only thing that's going to prevent me from falling this way, because my hands are back so far, is to exert a force into the ground that basically does this to slide me back and to keep me more in this position. But since the hands aren't actually sliding and there's no resisted flexion here at the elbow, then we're not getting that. So all we're getting is this isometric tension on the biceps in this position, out of the least significant position of the biceps function, meaning almost at full extension. You're getting that type of isometric force at almost full extension. If you're going to get isometric force on anything, do it from here, from a flexed position, to get at least something out of it. So all in all, guys, that exercise fails on so many levels. And one last thing, as a physical therapist, that I see from this that's horrible is what it does to your wrist. You see right here, there's an area of cartilage that's very susceptible to having force placed through the wrist from a very hyperextended position. And when you flip your hands around like that and then bear all that weight down there towards the ulnar side of your wrist here, that causes something called a TFCC injury, which is definitely very common, especially for people that aren't prepared for those types of forces. So all in all, not a good choice. So what would you do? Well, if you want to move just a little bit up that continuum, what you do is you can use your own body as a form of resistance, but understand that that resistance has to be into flexion of the elbow, not extension of the elbow like we talked about. So I've covered a few things before in the past. You can lay on your side, you grab your leg here, it's called a sideline bicep curl, and you pull yourself up. Is this great? No, it's not great, but you're getting at least resisted flexion. I'm actually working the biceps by trying to pull my weight up, minimize the contribution of the abs. You can make it a little bit more difficult by laying on your back and put your hand under onto your lower leg like this, and then you lift yourself up that way. The difference being that once your shoulders leave the mat here, you have more weight that you have to pull up, whereas on the sideline, you're getting a little bit of assistance from your arm into the ground. But again, sort of a step up, but not great. And I've also shown you how you can use your own leg. And no, not the weight of your damn leg. That's not what's providing the resistance there. It's the fact that you can push with your leg to create accommodating resistance. In other words, I could take my leg here and push it out in this direction and create an eccentric overload on the biceps. Or I can just simply push in that direction to make the concentric portion, having to pull this up if this is pushing back, it makes it more difficult for the bicep to do the work. But all those guys fall into sort of that middle of the road category. But if you don't have any options, you don't have any equipment, then that's what you would do. But here's my suggestion. Get a damn pull-up bar. Because when you do that, for a very inexpensive outlay of money here, you open up the possibility to actually get some really good bicep exercises. You have the option to do chin-ups. You have the option to do bicep chin curls like we showed before. You have the option to do something like even a negative eccentric hang, where you just simply try to hold on as long as you can and eccentrically load and overload the biceps. You can go even more difficult and either throw a little bit of weight around your waist if you have the option to do weighted chins, or you simply try to do a one-arm chin-up with assistance from the other hand. It just opens up so many better possibilities, but understand this, they're all resisting the flexion part. I'm putting the load on the bicep, on the elbow, closing down and creating flexion, not while I'm extending it. And remember, when we're falling down on the bicep push-up towards the ground, yes, you are bending your elbow here, but it's happening because gravity's doing the work for you. Whether or not I tried to lower myself down under control or I just let myself drop, I'm going to flex the elbow because gravity's doing all that work for me. Just because you go into that range doesn't mean that that's being resisted. You have to focus on what is being resisted to find the benefit for you in the exercise you're doing. So hopefully I didn't bash on that one too bad. Jesse was wrong again. It's okay. He does that from time to time. In the meantime, if you're looking for a program that does get it right, our Athlete Zero program is a bodyweight only program that requires no equipment whatsoever. You can find that over at athletenext.com. If you found the video helpful, leave your comments and thumbs up below. If you find these breakdowns of these exercises helpful, I hope it clarifies, maybe even settles a few arguments for you. People were asking me to do this on an Instagram Live a few days ago, and I was like, why? It doesn't work the biceps. But now maybe this clarifies it. And if you haven't already done so, guys, make sure you click subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video when we put one out. All right, guys, see you soon.